Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hello there. How's it going?
Good.
We are now streaming live on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
Right, we'll looks like we're missing Councilmember Carroll.
Barbara,
Yes.
do you have your cable plugged into your laptop?
Uh-huh.
Good. Just wanted to make sure.
Terlynn,
Yes.
remind me, I think I have notes. We do not have any amendment. We don't have a common consent agenda, correct?
Correct.
It says my internet connection is unstable. My son plugged it in for me.
Yeah, that's why I was bringing it up. I was just making sure that that's plugged in on both ends, because it does seem like you're lagging just a little bit.
My internet connection says I'm unstable.
We know that.
George, is Councilmember Carroll, is she in the waiting room for any?
Not quite yet.
The waiting
Few
room.
others are coming in.
If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to add a little bit of background sound.
Don Philip Sousa.
That's what I thought it sounded like. It was pretty soft.
That's the U.S. band, U.S. Army band right there.
Who's singing?
Probably just the members of the chorus, U.S. Army band and chorus. Is what it
The
says.
chorus, yeah. They do a good job.
They surely do.
There she is.
I'm going to give a couple minutes for Councilmember Carroll.
Yep, we're there.
Jump in. Oh, there she is.
I think Mark may have plugged in the wrong cable, but I don't know. I can't get up and do it.
Okay. I think we have everybody present. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you out to the American Fork City Council regular session. The date is July 14th of the year 2020. And pursuant to COVID-19 federal guidelines, this meeting will be conducted electronically. You may watch the meeting live stream on the agenda as it's posted. Email public comments can and will be accepted to Zoom public meetings comments at afcity.net prior to 5 p.m. the day of the meeting, and those comments will be read into the public record. We will follow the agenda as outlined. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we will have an invocation by Councilmember Barnes, and then I will conduct the roll call. So I will stand, and I would invite those who can to stand, and I will cite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? Our Father in heaven, as we begin this city council meeting this evening, we pause and acknowledge thee and give thee thanks for the many blessings that we enjoy. During this summer month of July, we're especially mindful of our great country, of thy watchful care over this land and this people. We give thanks for those who were involved in the early settling and the organizing of this country and the government that we have. And we acknowledge thy inspiration and guidance in setting up our Constitution and other documents. We're grateful, Father, for those who have fought for the obtaining and the defending of our rights and freedoms, as well as the freedoms of other lands and other people. We're grateful for their service, for the sacrifices they and their families and others have made. And during this month of July, we also remember and acknowledge the early pioneers, those who came west to find a better life and were able to come here and truly start this desert on the road to blossoming like a rose. We're also grateful for their sacrifices, for their commitments. We're grateful for all those who serve this community in any way, whether it be employees or citizens or others, for those who volunteer their time and their efforts, as well as those who are paid to do so. We're grateful for this great community, for the peace and the serenity that we enjoy here, for the opportunity to meet in meetings such as tonight to discuss business that pertains to our community. And we pray, Father, as we meet, that we might have guidance and inspiration from thee. The discussion will be civil, that will be productive, and that we might be able to continue to move this community forward. We're grateful and mindful of all of those who are serving during this stressful pandemic time, for our first responders, act in so many different ways, for all of those in the medical field who are serving and helping. We're grateful for sacrifices that they are all making, and we pray that they might be blessed, that they might be protected, that they might know of our love and appreciation for them. We thank thee again, Father, for all of our blessings. Pray for the other blessings that thou hast for us, and do this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, now we'll conduct the roll call. Councilmember Christiansen,
Here.
Councilmember Shelton,
Here.
Councilmember Barnes,
Here.
Councilmember Carroll,
Here.
Councilmember Taylor. Okay. We'll now move on to item number 2, and that is the reading of public comments. And to my knowledge, we have a singular comment that has been submitted. Terlyn, I'll have you read that into the public record.
Okay. So we received a comment from Miriam Bush. She had 2 comments or concerns. The first one is, what roads other than State Street are under construction? I work in Provo and like to travel alternate routes to I-15. I see road construction in cities between AF and Provo, but I haven't seen any road work being done here in American Fork, and our roads are in worse condition. Her second comment is, how many people have to get hurt? How many acres have to burn down? How many homes and yards have to be damaged? How much noise and environment pollution must occur before we limit or better regulate fireworks? And that was Miriam Bush.
I think that we can respond back to her on our road plans. I actually drove a few just getting here that were under construction and had a road treatment. So thank you for reading that in. Appreciate that comment. Now move on to the city administrator's report. David?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few things. Just want to start out by saying thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and all of the volunteers and organizers for Steel Days. It was a great week. We had a lot of fun, and there were a lot of changes that were made. I think Steel Days was planned probably 3 or 4 different times, 3 or 4 different ways. It just kept evolving as the week progressed. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of great things were accomplished, and I think it brought the community together. There were a lot of members of our community that came and watched the fireworks together and did other activities together. So I thought it was a big success, and so it was a lot of fun. We had 130 pickleball teams participate in a tournament during Steel Days. 12 kickball teams participated, and the fire department did not win, surprisingly enough. Just have to throw that in there for Aaron. We had 102 spike ball teams. That was an amazing tournament for spike ball as well. And so it was just an amazing week. I've seen a lot of comments about how people really enjoyed the different events, especially the fireworks show. I know the people who were lighting that off. In fact, one of our planning commissioners, Jeff Dupay, he had the igniter in his hands during that show. So he was helping lighting off those fireworks, and they did a really good job. And kudos to the Parks Department. You know, we keep them running ragged during Steel Days. They run back and forth and empty garbage cans and get water and turn off water and get generators and take back generators, all kinds of stuff. I mean, they are just great. And so kudos to them and Camden and his team there in the Parks Department as well. And to the City Council as well. You guys did a great job. Had your waves down during the parade. You guys all look great in the parade and big smiles. So thank you for participating there. They finished the Little League tournament in the Recreation League this week, and next week they'll finish the Pony and Colt tournament. And so they are starting to plan for fall sports. Don't know exactly what that's going to look like quite yet, depending on what the COVID-19 numbers do. Hopefully they were lower today than they were in the past. So hopefully they continue to go down and we can proceed with fall sports. We did have one participant in a sports program who was actively participating test positive for COVID. And so that always brings up the concern and how do we handle that? So, we're working closely with the county health department on those issues. Just want to let you know that it's here. It's in our city. We have had one employee at the city also test positive. And so it is around us, and we're doing our best to social distance, wear masks, use sanitizer, trying to keep our city safe. So we appreciate the public and the community doing their part as well as we associate with you and we're out in the public. Our employees are trying to stay safe and keep you safe as a community as well. So we had a report from Scott Sensenbauer regarding the MAG grants that were up for discussion during the last several months. Scott participated in a virtual tour of all of the different projects that were applied for. And American Fork had a couple of projects that we were asking to be considered. And they were both roundabouts. One on 100 East and right there by Greenwood Elementary, and the other on 200 South and 300 West. And both of those projects received very high scores and would fall within the parameters for funding. And so we'd like to thank Scott for his dedication and your team for putting together a great project presentation so that, you know, the people in MAG knew that these projects were really critical for our city. But so there's some construction projects headed our way, and they won't be easy. Roundabouts, when you do full intersection improvements, it causes quite a disruption in traffic patterns. And so I hope we can minimize the impact to our residents, but those are headed our way. And then another great thing that in the fire department, they apply for some grants through Firehouse Subs. They always support our public safety departments, and they granted American Fork Fire and Rescue $15,000 towards a UTV unit that will help us respond to needs on the golf course, especially up in Cedar Hills on that golf course, but also just in the foothills. This unit will be stored there in Cedar Hills, but there's several areas in that area that we provide service for that are hard to access, and this UTV will definitely give us the ability to access those locations. So congratulations to the fire department for receiving that grant. And that's all I have for now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, David. Now move on to the council reports, and Councilmember Chris Jansen, we'll start with you.
I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy you're here. So, and hope you get feeling better. So you look great. All right,
Thank you.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mayor. We also love being a part of Steel Days. It was great to see it. I heard that we had some participants that came down to watch the parade all the way from Cache Valley. So that was kind of cool to be able to hear that there were people that wanted to be safe and social distance, but at the same time be able to participate in some kind of a activity that's out there. And it'd be interesting to see the data from all those tournaments and who participated. I think it was a great success. So kudos to the committee and to the Chamber of Commerce for having a tough task this year of pulling that off. The other thing I wanted to report on is the Beautification Committee. They had their garden tour as part of it. And I think that from the comments I've heard back from the various participants that it was considered a great success as well. The committee is going to do their annual barbecue tomorrow night and kind of debrief outside in a social distancing atmosphere to kind of talk about it and hear more good stories. Other than that, I haven't had any other committee meetings since our last meeting, so nothing else to report, Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Barnes.
No specific committee meetings, but I did want to echo some other comments that have been made concerning Steel Days, maybe add a couple of my own. We kind of put the city on the map again, in that so many other communities were canceling everything. And I heard from a number of people from here as well as other cities saying, we just think it's so great that somebody's doing something. And just the general feeling of having that. I want to talk about the parade. What a riot. That was a lot of fun. For people that are kind of social like me, it was great to get out and see some people and see them in their yards. I noticed a number of families had set up in their garage and driveways, and they'd had breakfast and everything, and then they just came out and watched the parade. During a couple of the slow times, we had people come out and visit with us, and many of them expressed their thanks for us coming to them. I had one neighbor in particular that mentioned that they wouldn't have gone to the parade had it not come to them. But in addition to that, their married kids came, and there's no way those kids would have come down to see a quote parade. But they really enjoyed this. The little ones had a lot of fun. I think it was really a great event. Clark, you may bring this up in a minute, but you talked about a new tradition. I think we need to consider maybe every other year or something, doing something like that. I know it was a lot of work, and especially for the police, and I want to acknowledge them because we were moving at a pretty good clip, and they had to keep ahead of us and keep those roads blocked off and keep it safe, which they did. They always come through and did a great job, and so did everybody else. Stacy, the chamber did wonderful. And there are also a lot of volunteer committee people that did a lot on that, and they were wonderful. I did attend a number of the events, but again, the one that's just pure fun, I'm going to call it a splash pad. I don't know what you officially call that mud bowl that developed out there. But the kids and the adults, I saw some adults just having a pretty good time out there in the water and splashing and having a good time. And they weren't all in fire uniforms. Some of those guys had a pretty good time turning the hose on people and doing things. But it's just, the whole thing is just a great activity that builds community spirit and community pride. And to be able to do it while this goofy, crazy pandemic's going on was even a little special added touch. So to anybody, anywhere that participated in it, thanks. It was great. And I'll call it good with that.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Carroll.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm not sure what I can add about still days, and I don't have anything else that I have done recently. I will just say that I was able to, because I am one of the administrators for the Facebook page for Still Days, I was able to see the positive comments rolling in from the parade. And people were really, really grateful that we were able to do something for the city. And they understood that it couldn't be the same. And they were grateful that we tried to do anything. And that was really, really heartwarming to see our residents understand that. I really appreciated that. I just wanted to make sure I guess I want to express that each decision that we made, whether to hold an event or not, and whether to mod event or not, we agonized over each one of those for such a long time. And it was very hard to make those decisions. And I felt like we got criticized both ways. We got criticized for doing anything at all and criticized for canceling anything. So I'm just glad that I got some positive feedback in the midst of all of that. So thank you so much for supporting it. And I do think that it was absolutely the best it could have been considering the circumstances. And I haven't done any other committee meetings since then, although I did notice that the chamber did a ribbon cutting today. They're not waiting around, they're still working. But I was not able to attend. So but they're still working on the chamber. They're still going for full bore. Anyway, that's all I have to report today.
Thanks for that report. Councilmember Taylor.
Just thank you to the chamber, to Councilmember Carroll, to the city staff, to the police, the firemen, everything. There is something about a hometown celebration that absolutely just outdoes everything. And I this year had more texts and more. There was a couple parts that I really appreciated. I appreciated the people that were standing up for the police on the parade route. I appreciated the number of people that were yelling out, "Thank you." I think the rest of you probably heard that as well. I got a text from someone that says, "I am so dang proud of our city right now. We figured out a way to have a parade when the rest of the world tells us we can't." It was good to see everyone and to see the council. Thank you, thank you. And the fireworks show. I have received more thanks, and trust me, I defrayed all of it to those of you who were in the thick of it. I was just so pumped, and I am so glad for all that took place and for all the hard work and effort that went in. We needed this. You know, Stacy, you talk about the things being canceled. You guys were right on top of it though, and we still had some awesome activities. For the first time, I went to the Chalk Fest and I walked up and down and looked at all of the artwork, and it's just incredible what's going on. And then aside from the celebration, but in the midst of it, I just can't tell you, I'm still riding a high over the dedication and the ribbon cutting of Art Dye Park. To have 5 fields going full blast with kickball, I'm telling you, I'm just so appreciative of everyone that's worked so hard to make that happen. And I am just really honored to be a part of all of it with all of you. So that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you. You know, I will just add my, echo what has been said. And if I could just add a couple things from a perspective, I was right behind the Grand Marshal, and people were holding their children up and pointing, and as is to say, "You delivered my child." And then there were even some that were a little older, and they were coming out and they were pointing at themselves. So I felt like, the Grand Marshal just fit the whole thing. But there was probably never a year there was more planning that took place. And yet it came across at the end with maybe not quite as many events. And so Councilmember Carroll, the chamber, the committee, David, Josh Christensen, and everybody, I felt like our city did a wonderful job, and we made some tough decisions, but they were the right decisions. And I think that, again, from what I've seen and what I've read from a few emails, people did acknowledge the attempt, and that meant a lot. And I was trying to be observant on that parade route, and I could tell of many that could have never have made a regular route. They were by themselves. They were on their porches. They were in 3-story balconies. There were children, and I don't know. I found myself even getting a little bit emotional as it started, not knowing what to expect, but being overwhelmed with how it went. And I don't know what was happening towards the back and if there was chaos, but it's okay that there was a little bit of chaos amongst it all. And the fact is that we were out there and we were giving it good effort. And I don't think that anybody held it against us. I really don't. So thank you. Every event that I went to, I felt was put on very, very professionally, very, very organized, very well attended, and they were very safe. Signs were out, people were distancing, and they had that in their mind, and yet we did pull it off. So thank you for everything that took place. I did attend that ribbon cutting this afternoon for the Nerve. It's the only ribbon cutting I've ever been to that's had a car that you could smash up with a sledgehammer if you wanted to. But it's a chiropractic center that's coming in, and they're down near kind of by the IFA in that general area down there in those strip malls. And it looks like they've got a great team, and we wish them all the success. And so that is the mayor's report. We do not have anything for the common consent agenda. We do not have the approval of these minutes. So we'll move on to the action items. Action item number 1 is the city payments, ratification of city payments from June 17th, 2020 to July 7th, 2020, and approval of purchase requests over $25,000. Is there any questions for David or Anna or anybody from city staff concerning the city bills?
Mayor, I'd move approval of the city payments from June 17th, 2020 to July 7th, and approval of the purchase requests over $25,000.
Have a motion by Councilmember Taylor.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Carroll. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, item number 2 is review and action on appointment of the city treasurer. If you remember back on May 12th of 2020, we appointed David Bunker as an interim city treasurer, replacing Laurel Allman, who was my right hand and our treasurer at the time, who retired. We have since have a wonderful new hire, Karen Kester, and she is in this meeting with us. If you would like to speak with Karen, or maybe we could, if you don't know much about her, I'll even have her introduce herself. But Karen has been working now. Karen, how long have you been with us total?
Just about 4 weeks now.
Okay, all right. Are there any questions for Karen and her new role as the city treasurer that you might have questions about?
I just think she ought to give a 10-minute speech so we get to know her.
I just want to say a couple things. Karen is so qualified. We are so excited to have her at American Fork City, and she's doing a fantastic job already, jumping in and really taking care of a lot of issues here at the city. And I'm happy to turn over the city treasurer reins to her. She'll do a great job. Just so bright and on top of things, and a pleasure to work with. So we have a lot of confidence. So thank you, Karen.
Thanks, David. I'm excited.
Just a couple comments. First and foremost, welcome aboard. It's
Thank
good to meet you virtually, I guess as you'd say. As I mentioned before, every time we do an appointment with the treasurer, I just think it's good to make sure we've got regular training that takes place, and I'm sure that's part of it. But you know, sometimes that can feel like a title that maybe gets passed, and it's one to me that means a lot. There's a lot of trust with that position, and part of that's making sure, as you look in the packet there, it shows a lot of duties that you have and responsibilities, and I'm sure from what I've heard that you won't ever dare take those lightly. So I appreciate that, but just encourage any training that we can give ongoing is important. So welcome
Sure.
aboard again.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Also, great to meet you, Karen.
Nice to see you.
I'm just wondering if this is the sole responsibility of Karen, or if she will have a dual role of some kind like Laurel did.
This is a subsidiary role. She's her position is an accountant. So this is in addition to, attached in the packet is a list of duties in addition to her regular daily tasks.
Okay.
Karen will be our backstop probably for a lot of different things. When Denise is out, she's helping us with accounts payable. There will be times when Amanda will need to be gone. So Karen will be she'll be like someone with a big catcher's mitt that catches everything that comes her way. So we're excited that she can do multiple roles here.
With that, Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Karen Kester as city treasurer.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton and a second by Councilmember Taylor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Karen.
Thanks. It was nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard.
Item number 3 is review and action on the water banking agreement with Michael S. Loveridge. Scott, take it away.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is pretty much a straightforward water banking agreement that when a developer or other person deeds more water rights to the city, then they have need for their development. These banking agreements take care of the excess and give them credits. So with that, just stand for any questions you may have about this particular one.
I'm happy to make a motion. Can you put the motion back up there, Evangeline? Thank you. I move to authorize the city to sign the water banking agreement for water rights with Michael S. Loveridge.
I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shelton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 4 is review and action on a resolution certifying authorized users to access and or transact with the Utah Public Treasurers Investment Fund, known as the PTIF accounts. David, I'm going to have you lead into this if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, the Public Treasurers Investment Fund, which is also called the PTIF Fund, is the fund in which the city deposits most of our account balances. We use that fund for our enterprise funds, for our general fund. And so this is an authorization to allow myself and Karen to be able to make changes or access that account. I have been on that account for several years, and it's appropriate to add Karen to that authorization as well. So this is just some simple housekeeping.
Just out of curiosity, David, I know that we had a presentation back when Kyle was here about maybe outsourcing some to another investment firm. Did that ever get executed, or is everything still pretty much either at a bank or in the PTIF?
So it's funny you should ask, because Anna and I literally sat down at the end of last week and said, hey, let's move that forward. It never did get executed. There was a presentation and a work session to City Council. And so we wanted to bring that back to the council. And Anna has been reaching out to Morton Asset Management. And we were gonna bring that back to the council for more discussion. I would prefer not having everything in the PTIF fund. I think there's better ways to manage our portfolio than just having it all in the PTIF.
Yeah, and then the other question I had, it's a little off topic, or maybe more of a suggestion than a question, but I think it'd be great to have, been thinking about it a lot lately, a financial dashboard that maybe could be given to us quarterly as council members, just a one sheet that has maybe certain indicators or highlights of where things are at. Different boards I sit on, I find that to be helpful, and then kind of helps give you a quarterly, real quick check on where things are at. And part of that would just be where, you know, investment reserve funds sit and things of that nature. But something I would love to see on how the other council members feel. I don't mean to add input or digress, but I just bring that up. And if there's some samples I can show you or things of that nature, I'd be happy to.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I'd move to approve the resolution authorizing David Bunker and Karen Kester to make changes to the American Fork Cities investment with the Public Treasurers Investment Fund.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor, second by Councilmember Barnes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 5 is review and action on an escrow bond agreement with the Bank of Utah and AFEW1 LLC for Edgewater North subdivision. Scott? Take it away.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is the financial guarantee the bonding requirement for this development, the Edgewater North subdivision. One of the options that our code allows developers to do is this escrow bond agreement. And so that is the option that they have chosen. Good development, been working with them for a while. And so with that, I recommend approval and ready to answer any questions you may have.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the escrow bond agreement with Bank of Utah and AFEW1 LLC.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shelton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 6 is review and action on the escrow bond agreement with Bank of Utah and AFEW1 LLC for the yard subdivision.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a identical, same agreement, same developer, adjacent development. Moving forward, so really nothing more to add on that, unless you have any questions or things I can answer.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the escrow bond agreement with Bank of Utah and AFEW1 LLC.
You have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
Second.
second by Councilmember Barnes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay. Item number 7 is review and action on a resolution approving an amendment to the land use element of the general plan located at 280 North County Boulevard from the residential low density to the professional office designation.
Mayor, this is pretty self-explanatory. And the notes from the planning commission were there and available. It's the last house on the east side of the street there that isn't in that medical, well, it isn't being currently utilized for medical. So I move to adopt the resolution approving an amendment to the land use element of the general plan located at 280 North County Boulevard from the residential low density to the professional office designation.
Okay, thank you for that motion, Councilmember Taylor.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilmember Carroll. Any further discussion?
Just one little note of interest to make sure on the diagram map that we have on page 28 of our packet, it shows the house, the piece of ground to the north of that is still in the residential low density because it's still that same color. Is that one not already in the
That one was,
professional office?
yeah, the zone is professional office. It was annexed under that or changed a while back. The map can be updated and cleaned up, but this one, they did ask for the map to be changed as well, but we can clean that up and reflect all the other ones that have gone on that to that professional office designation. That's not hard to do.
That's what I thought. It's just not been updated. I drove by there because I was a little confused and I thought, wait a minute, there's not an extra house in there somewhere in my mind.
No.
I was confused. So thank you.
All right.
All right, I have a motion and a second, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
All right, item number 8 is associated with it, and that is a review and action on approving a zone map amendment located at 280 North County Boulevard from the R1 12,000 residential to the PO1 professional office zone.
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember
All of us.
Barnes.
All of them.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 9 is a resolution, a review and action on a resolution amending the written procedures governing electronic meetings. If there are any questions, Sherilyn will ask you to chime in. Does anybody have questions for Sherilyn?
I don't know if this is a question for Sherilyn, but is this indefinitely being changed? It's not changing just for COVID time?
This is a change because of COVID. The governor issued an executive order they had a special session with the legislature to basically take that executive order and put it into state code. So this is just bringing our resolution into compliance with the revised state code that was recently passed in their last session. It applies for COVID, but it would also apply if, for example, there was an earthquake and the city hall building wasn't stable or sure enough. We could go to an electronic meeting until we had clearance that the building was safe again to return.
I think the point I looked at and saw there, it was a big thing for me, was that any member can participate electronically at their desire. They just have to give 48 hours notice to the chair. Is that correct?
That portion hasn't, there wasn't a change to that portion. That was already in our resolution, I believe.
Right. I know that in the past, there's been some discrepancy about a week's notice what had to be given, but it's just 48 hours and we're all clear on that. That's just 48 hours is all that needs to be given. So.
And the concern with that is the notice requirement. And of course, this is, the mayor still has control over sending the notice out and the control of the agenda. We have to notice up an electronic meeting. So if the agenda goes out on a Thursday and it hasn't been noticed up, it would require re-noticing. So that then is a decision because there is a financial impact of that as well.
So I just want to be
24 hours is kind of the minimum in order for us to at least be able to get the notice out.
Okay. I just want to be clear. I think that it's clear in the language there. It just says any member desiring just has to give notice to the chair. And that's pretty clear to me, I think. So with that, I'll go ahead and I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution amending the written procedures governing electronic meetings.
I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
Second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 10 is a review and action on an ordinance adopting amendments to section 17.5.133 of the American Fork City Development Code entitled Off-Street Parking Standards. Adam, is this, I think this seems like this is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This did go to Planning Commission. It went forward first as a discussion item. There was an inconsistency in the parking standards. And so we brought it to the Planning Commission and said, here are the inconsistencies. Do we stick with one or the other? And ultimately they fell to sticking with the 2.25 spaces per unit. The table has been amended to take out those residential uses that are in red strike through. Because those are addressed elsewhere in the parking standards. It was just causing inconsistencies and confusion with some developers. And so the Planning Commission recommended sticking with the 2.25 for multifamily uses, although they did leave open the option for a developer to come to the Planning Commission and council if they feel that they have, a project that would warrant a lower standard than the 2.25. So that's what's before you tonight. It was really just kind of a cleanup item of an inconsistency that was in the code.
Just one quick question I have for you, Adam. Does that mean that it's not going to have single family dwellings listed here at all with the two?
We already have those. Those are listed in the other section that's not in the table. So what the table did was it kind of gave dual requirements for single family and multifamily. And so we're just cleaning that up. So we only have one reference to single family and multifamily instead of two. The single family does not change. It's only multifamily.
Right. I just wondered, it looked like it was a good comprehensive table where someone quickly could go see things without having to dig through different parts of the code, which I like.
It's the same section of the code. It's just we're cleaning that portion of the table. And that's why we gave it to the Planning Commission, is we said, do you want to stick with the table, or do you want to stick with the version that's, basically in the paragraph or two before the table? And they decided to stick with the 2.25 per unit. They felt that parking is enough of an issue that they wanted the higher standard, if you will.
Okay.
We do have a separate standard for the TOD, which is called out in the TOD code, but everywhere else outside of the TOD is governed by this section.
Okay.
The only question well, a couple of questions, I guess, Adam. This is basically what we're doing currently, as I understand it. Do we currently have some wording in there that says that states that people can appeal to the Planning Commission, or is that new verbiage?
No, that's always been in there, so that hasn't
Okay.
changed.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't opening a can of worms, so to speak, for them to get a whole lot more appeals.
No, we typically, most projects, a majority of them do come in at the 2 1/4. You will see a project on your next agenda in 2 weeks. They're actually providing slightly more than 2 1/4 because they feel that the residents there will fill those parking stalls. So they've met our minimum and then gone slightly above it.
And they must have been listening to Clark's comments the last few meetings. I'll tell you what, that's pretty cool.
I made a firm commitment tonight that I wasn't going to jump back on this. I was just going to stick quietly. So thanks for taking my role in doing that, Rob.
Yeah.
Yes, we acknowledge it. Thank you, Clark.
One question I had there, Adam, I know we're trying to clean up inconsistencies and I was just reading through the code and trying to make sure it lined up. It says accessory build or dwellings on there in that chart is 1 parking stall per accessory dwelling. And to my knowledge, the only accessory dwelling we have is accessory apartments. Is that right?
Yeah, and we can take that out because it does call out in our accessory apartment section. It does have that. So, I mean, that's one that could be deleted as well, should you choose. That way it's not in 2 different sections, but only one.
Yeah, and in the section that it's referencing, not in the table, is requires 2 off-street parking versus 1.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be good to just strike it from the table if that's what we wanted to do.
That can be easily done through the motion.
Okay. I don't know if it's good to always just refer to it as accessory apartments. I don't know how that goes. Some places we use accessory dwellings and sometimes apartments, and dwellings make it seem like that might be a shed in the back that has, an apartment in it, or not a shed, a garage, I guess you'd say, or something like that, a detached unit. But
yeah, and per the ordinance that addresses accessory apartments, they do need to be part of the main structure. So you could not have a separate structure, if you will. But no, that can easily be cleaned up, and we can do that.
Perfect.
Well, you guys can guess what I'm going to say, but remind me again where that table came from. It came from the manual of.
That was in this planning standards book. The reason we put the table in was to identify additional commercial uses that were vague. And so when someone came in with a commercial use, we could easily refer to the table. Basically, an unintended consequence of transferring that table over was it did give a slight variation of residential standards as it related to multifamily units, where our code basically had a straight 2 1/4 per multifamily unit, where the table kind of broke it down into 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and studio. And so that was an unintended consequence of putting the table over. That wasn't looked at quite as closely a number of years ago when that was transferred. And so it has brought up inconsistencies from time to time. And that's why we thought it was a good idea to clean that up, and why we took it to the Planning Commission and said, look, we can go either direction. Which one do you choose we go? And ultimately they fell to the 2 1/4 because of, just issues that they've seen through different projects of potentially being underparked. So they felt that we could stay at the 2 1/4. And if there was, a reason to request a variation of that, applicants and developers could do so.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that this is a planning and urban standard. Not that we have to adopt this standard, but I mean, this isn't just me saying, hey, if you have a smaller unit, you should have a lesser parking standard. that's kind of universal. So, I mean, I'm not gonna fight that change to 2 1/4, but if somebody comes in with only 1-bedroom apartments, that's a lot. 2 1/4 for only 1-bedroom apartments is really a lot. So that's just my 2 cents. I know the council feels differently on this than me, and I respect the need to have adequate parking. I just also don't like to have giant parking lots that aren't needed, because that's bad for your city. But anyway, that's just a comment that I wanted to add.
Is this the section that talks about movie screens?
It does list quite a number in there. I'm trying to find that one, but it may. Yeah, it talks about.
I
yes,
reviewed
it
this.
does. Mhm.
I reviewed this while I was in the hospital, but I did notice that there was a section for movie theaters that showed 50 to 10 screens. I believe that should be 5 to 10. We don't want to confuse people.
That could have been just an error when it was transferred
Just a
over.
typo. Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a lot of screens.
Yeah,
It sure is.
I don't want to make the motion because I can't quite figure out how to say it, but I think the motion should include that we make the standard the same and just use it in that one section that you referred to, Adam. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if you make a motion to adopt it, that's what that will do, is it will eliminate those sections that are strike through. Plus, I believe Rob had suggested eliminating the one that talks about accessory units. And then that's referred to within that own section. So making a
that's what
motion
I'm
of
talking
approval
about.
would accomplish that.
And I think I saw it in there where I don't know if the actual ordinance has the strike through or not. I thought I saw that it did on the accessory apartments, just not on the sample. Maybe I got that wrong.
No, that would be something you could add to the motion, because that was not part of the original
Okay. It looked like it was in the planning
proposal.
commission.
I believe they discussed it. I'd have to go back and look at the minutes. I believe it may have been discussed, but either way, that can definitely, oh, actually it was. So it looks like from the minutes, that one was proposed to be stricken as well.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance adopting amendment to section 17.5133 of the American Fork City Development Code entitled Off-Street Parking Standards, and just add the caveat to make sure that it follows what the Planning Commission had adopted and remove the accessory dwelling unit as well.
Thanks for that motion, Councilmember Shelton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Taylor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Christiansen,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
I'm voting no, because I think that the parking standards should be related to the size of the unit.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
All right, item number 11. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion
moved,
to
Mayor.
adjourn.
A motion by Councilmember Taylor and seconded by Councilmember Carroll. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Before we go, Tara Lynn, do you have everything you need signed up? Tara Lynn, you there? Okay,
Yes, I have everything. Sorry.
okay, thank you. All right, have a good evening. Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
All
See
right.
you
Thank you
guys.
all.
All right.